Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel. My name is Mike. I'm continuing my Week 2 previews and analysis. This video is for the game between the Denver Broncos and the New York Giants. This game will be played out in East Rutherford, the home of the Giants. It'll be the home opener for the New York Giants after they're coming off a Week 1 loss down in Jerry's World to the Dallas Cowboys, while the Broncos, in a much publicized opening night win at home versus the Ravens, in which Peyton Manning threw 7 touchdown passes. You start with the Broncos there, and I'll get their defense in a second, but obviously the story on Monday night was that offense. Manning throwing 7 touchdowns, 5 of those in the second half. You saw him get everyone involved, from Demaryius Thomas to his new tight end to Wes Welker. You saw everyone get involved there in that game. I think you'll see that similarly play out. Eric Decker, for instance, didn't have a great game in Week 1. I think maybe he's a guy this week who has a big game, and a guy like Welker doesn't go off like he did in the first game with 2 touchdowns. I think Manning is when he has a full arsenal like he does now of tight ends and receivers, he truly passes the ball to the guy who's open. He's able to obviously progress through his reads enough to just hit the open man, not necessarily try to force it in. And look, I think this offense, the sky's the limit. The only thing that I think could derail them is if they can't get any semblance of a running game going, which is a little bit of a problem. Certainly against the Ravens. Will that matter this week against the Giants? I don't know. I'd like to think it will, because the Giants, playing at home, coming off a loss, a serious sense of urgency will be present at the Meadowlands, and I think the Broncos will need to have a little bit of a more balanced attack if they want to put up the kind of points that they're looking to put up, the kind of points that they put up, 49 to be exact, against the Ravens in Week 1. That Broncos defense is what scares me. I know the much focus was on the fact that they scored 49 points. I thought the Ravens moved the ball pretty well against the Broncos, and the Ravens don't have the weapons that the Giants possess. I mean, when you talk about this Broncos defense having to go up against Nix, Cruz, Ruben Randall, newly acquired Brandon Myers, the tight end in the offseason, I question, without Von Miller, how much pressure they can put on Eli Manning. And I think Eli Manning has just a good chance to have a good game against this Broncos defense, as his brother does against the Giants defense. And, we'll see how this Broncos defense sort of unfolds. I do not like the Broncos secondary whatsoever. But we'll see, again, we'll see how it unfolds. We'll see if I'm right. But look out for that Broncos secondary being pretty vulnerable to that Giant passing attack. Now, as far as the Giants go, the Giants, you could look at their first week game a lot of ways. And they did lose 36-31. I tend to look at it as they had the ball driving down the field to win the game. Now, they didn't win. That's really the bottom line here. But they scored 31 points and turned the ball over 5 times and had a chance to win the game. Okay, and I think that speaks to how explosive that offense is. And, Victor Cruz with 3 touchdowns in the opener. If Eli can get a little bit more consistent, throw for a little bit higher of a percentage. Remember, when Eli's throwing passes, he's always throwing the ball down the field. So it's natural he'll have a little bit more mistakes in the passing game than a guy who's dinking and dunking. But if he can limit it even a little more of those mistakes, I think he's going to have plenty of open lanes to throw in against this Broncos defense. I don't think they'll be able to put the pressure on him that he even got last week against the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are a better defense right now because they're opportunistic than the Broncos are without Von Miller. Look, not having Von Miller is a huge issue here, especially with Doomerville obviously now off in Baltimore. And last thing about the Giants offense, I look for David Wilson to have a serious bounce-back game. He had a very disappointing 2-fumble game in Dallas. He's a capable player. He's an explosive player, and I think he's going to shine this week, both in the run game and in the passing game. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people, and I think he's going to be the difference in this game. From a defensive standpoint, look, the Giants don't have a great defense, and their linebackers have been suspect now for a while. Their secondary is average. They need that defensive line to muster a pass rush. Roma was able to sort of cut them up a little bit in Week 1. We'll see how they bounce back. One thing for the Giants that's good, is, the Broncos weren't really able to establish a running game against the Ravens. So I don't know if they have to worry about the run as much as they did last week with DeMarco Murray in the backfield. So maybe that helps the focus of their defense. I look for this game to be pretty much a shootout. I think both teams will be above 24, 27 points. And I like the Giants +4 in this game at home. For the Giants to be getting 4 points at home, coming off a loss in their home opener against a team I think they can move the ball up and down the field on. I like the Giants in this game. And don't get me wrong, the Broncos are going to score points, but I like the Giants to pull this one out late. Give me the Giants +4 against the Broncos. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Hit me up on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis. Guys, be sure to subscribe. I preview every game every week. Thanks again for listening, and have a great night.